Seth, do you remember the video? It was maybe about a year ago. I want to say you probably don't,
About
but
The
it
Witcher.
was a video about I found on Facebook, and this one guy's like, "Are video games racist?" And they were talking about the I guess it was like some new Street Fighter like remaster coming out when they had like Ryu and Ken, and they had like Dark Ryu and Dark
I remember
Ken.
we had this conversation with
Oh,
everybody.
see, now I do remember
I
that.
remember having this conversation, and we never put the
Yeah.
podcast. We had this conversation before we did the podcast, so we should have it again because
Yeah, it was just
yeah, it's
like I don't know. I personally don't think that they
I,
are because
I mean there was a lore reason for why they had dark skin. Like wasn't there, Seth? Like,
yeah.
what was the lore? What was the lore
Yeah,
reason for
Seth.
that?
Like, was there like a lore reason or? I,
Well, I mean, I know for like Dark or Evil Ryu, it's like the Setsu no Hado, I think that's what it's called. It
mhm.
it's like just the intent to kill, like the energy that you get from just rage and just like fighting.
So like dark
It's-
energy or whatever you want
yeah.
to call it, like that.
So like I guess that would be the reason why the skin's darker. Like for Akuma, for instance, like the dude has blood red hair and eyes, and his fucking eyeballs are black, while his skin's like
Yeah,
intense.
you know,
But
do you think?
I don't know. It. I'm not saying it is, but I'm not saying it's not.
There's no reason for a video game company to do something overtly racist. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
what do you gain from that?
that's right.
Okay,
I just think it might just be people taking it a little bit too far with
Yeah,
however.
and then there was also like if you remember that people were like, "Oh, is The Witcher 3 racist?" It's like, no, it's made by a Polish company, and there's
Well, yeah, the whole thing that
the whole thing is like it's like it's high fantasy, which means it's based off of a
Right.
historical time period, but then it's like they copy elements of a historical time period and then interject it onto a fantasy world.
right.
So what The Witcher 3 is supposed to take place, technically it's like 13th century, right? At that time, Poland had no like ethnic people; it was just all white people. But they did have some people coming from Turkey over there to trade with them, and so they actually have DLC in Hearts of Stone. You have these like Turkish princes come over and they start bending their wares.
Zercania.
All
Or
those
are you
that
saying
are
that
not
people were
Turkey.
saying it was racist because there wasn't any other
Mhm.
Because there wasn't
diversity
any-
besides?
There
Yeah,
was a
because-
guy on YouTube. Okay, PBS used to have like this gaming channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, it was really.
PBS,
Yeah,
like
it's like
Yeah,
like
like
the
PBS
PBS.
Kids, like yeah, like Polish
Public
broadcasting.
broadcast.
Yeah, like they had like their own gaming like YouTube channel, and this one guy, his name was Jamin, or I don't know his last name. He was like half
Rags
black
didn't.
and like half Hispanic.
Rags did a number on him, but that's
Yeah. A YouTube.
like-
This one YouTuber named Rags did a response video. He did two different. Oh my gosh, it was pretty funny. Like Rags can be a little intense sometimes, but like
Yeah.
my god, those videos, he just tore him a new one. It was insane. But like this guy Jamin's talking about like, oh, like are video games racist, and like he's using examples of like The Witcher 3, how it's like all made by white people and there's no cultural diversity inside the game.
you know, like, and he was like, and all the NPCs are like what? It's like that's because it's like it's Polish mythology and Polish like
and
it's
not
like-
even that, he was talking about Call of Duty as well, saying how it was like historically inaccurate.
It was Resident Evil, right?
Well,
No, he's talking about Resident Evil,
and
'cause
there
because-
was a Call of Duty thing as well. But
Because in Resident Evil, you know, there's a mission where you go to Africa, and you know the zombies. Of course, the
Oh,
zombies.
that's
in
Resident Evil 5.
The
yeah.
zombies-
that was so like, oh my
That
god,
was-
it's
I
so
remember that.
racist. I'm
The
like,
zombies-
okay,
I remember that
it's like-
happening.
It's like the zombies in Africa are going to be black. I don't.
it's
It's
so
not.
dumb. Like, oh my gosh, I just never understood it. It was just the weirdest.
There was a
thing
lot
ever.
of backlash from that game's release. I remember that. So,
I thought that was the dumbest thing ever, though. Like,
The backlash was because the story was bad, not because of that. Though it was like Resident Evil 5 Revelations, and they spelled it wrong.
What?
Um,
Wrong game.
Resident
Wrong
Evil-
game. Wrong
What?
game, buddy.
Really? That was the
Resident Evil
wrong-
5 is different from Revelations.
It's not.
It is.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
that's what I said.
I don't know. It was just so
I said they
weird
spelled
'cause,
it wrong.
Like,
No, it's just
honestly,
Resident Evil 5. There's no like.
I wish we could. I wish we can get Ethan in here, because like I would like to.
No.
No.
No thanks.
It like
No,
just to create a opposing view.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so esports.
I mean, we'll still talk about this topic, but I'm just like.
Wait, what? No, that's fine. It was.
So,
I don't know, because
so-
I've seen so many people that were.
What was
just,
it? What was it with Jamin again? It was like he said.
Jamin was talking. Oh my god. He was like, so like everyone in The Witcher is like white, right? So he was pretty much saying that like CD Projekt Red should have opened up like cultural diversity, you know, to like people with like different skin, because apparently I need someone in the video game to look like me in order for me to identify with that video game in general. And he was pretty much saying that how he wanted The Witcher 3 to have more brown people in it, because it didn't have enough brown people in the main game when everyone from Zerrikania was pretty much...
Not Zerrikania. Wait, is it Zerrikania?
Yeah, or I think that's the name of it.
Wait.
They were in
No,
the
it's the
DLC.
Hearts of Stone expansion people. Yeah.
I forgot which DLC. Yeah.
I
Haven't
don't
played the
think it's
DLC
Zerrikania.
yet, but I'm getting around to it. It's.
Brian, you gotta play that. Hold
I
on.
know. I mean, I
Hold on,
beat
wait,
the
let me
game.
look it up because they're not.
I beat the game. I want to say it's in Hearts of.
It is Hearts of Stone. I know that for certain.
But
And the reasoning is that they're from overseas because
yeah, it's a
that
foreign
makes sense.
land.
They're foreign.
But I just don't understand why people are just so bent out of shape about it, or people were in general. But yeah, Jamin was, oh my gosh, it was just the craziest thing ever. Like, I just didn't understand it whatsoever. How he was just pretty much just complaining that video games don't have enough brown people in it. It's like, well, majority of America is made up of white people, or Caucasians, if you will. And you know, a lot of these game developers, majority of them are going to be white. I don't know about you, but I haven't really seen any black video game like developers. I'm not saying that there isn't any there probably are some that I don't know of, but who have like helped me made a game. But I've never really seen any lead developers that were of different color. Or a different culture. What
Okay, just back on topic because this is bothering me. It's they're from Ophir, which is like Saudi Arabia in the Witcher universe. So, yeah.
Is that bugging you?
Yeah, that was bugging me. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you're good.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. But yeah, it was. I don't know. I always thought it was just a weird thing. I don't think video games are racist. Like Seth said, I think it's more of people just look way too much into certain things.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's bad for the community as a whole. But Spider-Man
PS4.
Spider-Man
Apparently,
PS4.
You know what's been happening with games now? They're trying to make more games. Like most games that's been coming out, they've been
Don't say
trying
the
to
E-word.
make them very open world and more RPG oriented.
I agree with that statement.
Which is good and bad. So some games it works well. Some games it doesn't. Like
Do you think it depends on the mechanic of the game?
I think it
itself?
depends on the mechanic of the game because like some games are supposed to be very linear, whereas some are more choice based. But a superhero game, I'm always up. That's always great if it's I mean it has to be open world because it's fucking yeah. But
at the same, I feel like superhero games have to be linear at some point.
they have to be linear a little bit, but like sometimes,
like Superman 64.
Oh my god.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that fucking game.
Whoa there, Seth.
I remember playing that game.
Flying through those rings and shit.
It was
You remember
Ring,
that?
Seth's size is
Ring
like,
Simulator.
oh.
You guys remember that Hulk demo on PS2?
Oh my god. You guys remember demos? How like demos actually used to like help you,
Yeah.
you know, decide what you're gonna buy. And it's like, oh, like there's this new demo on Xbox.
Like the
about-
Mafia 2 demo
Like,
had
they-
every single mechanic in the game in it except it was just locked in a little area, and that was good. That's a good demo. But like
Mm-hmm.
These other demos are poop. These other demos are poop.
If you can even call them demos anymore, like honestly,
They're just
think
like-
about it. Like, there's so many games out there where it's like, oh, instead of doing demos, we're gonna do a beta, and instead of just giving people, you know, free reign to that beta, we're gonna make it a pre-order offer, and then maybe later down the line, we'll open up 2 to 3 days for everybody to try it. So like, you know, that's kind of cool. I'm like, no, I want like either a chunk, not a chunk, or a sliver or whatever of the game, and I want to be able to experience it. Like when Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, great game by the way. For any of you guys who haven't played it, I know Jared's played it.
The graphics get a little bit getting used to for when it came out, but
It's
a good
it's oh
game.
my, it's
that's
such
because
a
they
good
had originally
game.
planned it to be an MMO, but
Yeah,
they
yeah, it
didn't
was
have-
supposed to be an
they
MMO.
didn't have enough funding, so they were just like, okay.
It was literally like World of Warcraft met like Skyrim and Fable, like all
it was
together.
it was
It
kind
was
of
the
like World of
ultimate
Warcraft combined
baby.
with Dragon Age. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, that is true. Well, like,
Because there was Dragon Age items in it. There was also
oh yeah, because it was EA and Big Huge Games or something like that that
Yeah.
worked on it all together. But like,
Yeah.
I was just like, they gave you like an hour time to demo of this game before it
Yeah.
came out, and I was like, okay, you know, I'll try
which
it
in
out. It's
retrospect,
free, why not?
which in retrospect was not enough, but
Yeah, exactly. But like,
But what the
within
demo
that
offered,
hour,
what
I
the
would-
demo was offered, you would know if you wanted to buy it or not.
Right, but like not even that. Like, I mean, I feel like the experience of the demo is very important as well because that's the part of the game that is showcasing, hey, like this is what our game is going to be like. Just like when Destiny 1 came out for the open beta, when people pre-ordered it, which I don't think that, you know, we should be able to. We need to pre-order in order to have access to a beta to find out whether or not the $60 we already gave the company is worth our time. But I remember when Destiny 1 first came out, you know, I was playing on my Xbox One, RIP Xbox One. My Xbox One, I should say, because
I still use mine for shit.
he's gone. He's bye-bye. I was talking to Devin about, like, yeah, like, have you tried out the Destiny beta? And he's like, yeah, I kind of did. He didn't really seem to like it all that much. I had a blast with it, but then, like, I read a little bit more into it, and then it was more of just, everyone's like, yeah, like, this is, like, pretty much the game. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like this is, like, the whole world itself? They're like, well, there's, like, a few other planets that you'll visit, but, like, this is, like, the main part of the game they just, like, kind of gave you. And I was like, oh, well, I got to like level 20. I'm like, so this is like what I'd be expecting to actually play in the game. Like, there's no like as much extra as I thought was going to be added to the game. And I'm like, oh, well, I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll still buy the game. It shouldn't be a big deal. This is Bungie we're talking about. They'll never let us down.
That's because when Destiny came out, team sellouts. So,
Yeah, well, when the first Destiny came out, everyone's like, oh, like, you know, this is Bungie. Like, this is Bungie's big MMO RPG game. Like, you know, Bungie's been working on Halo for a while. They had their followers, their fan base, their people. And, yeah, it just, I mean, I had my fun with it, but then after a while, it just got incredibly redundant. And, I don't know, it's just like, when I played the demo, I guess just getting back to the whole demo thing, where it's like, okay, like I played the demo, I wasn't as wowed as I was with Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, because like after I played an hour, like I was so sunken into that game, I forgot there was a book author who actually wrote the story for that game.
So the people that did it, the main two, then there's a game developer, but that doesn't really. Like,
No, I know, but I'm saying
Yeah,
like,
the
there was
main
actually
two
a
were
book
art-
author
were
who,
art-
like,
it's- yeah.
wrote the actual
I
story
know.
for it.
I'm telling you, the book author was R.A. Salvador.
That's what it was, yeah.
The artist who designed everything was Todd McFarlane. So that's.
But like it was just, I was so sunk into that game because like it literally gave me everything I could possibly do, and it's like, hey, like, I hope you know you enjoy your hour-long demo, like, you know, come and pre-order the game, blah blah, go to GameStop or wherever else, Best Buy, Walmart. And I was like, I was so like I wanted to buy that game. I was willing to shell out $60 for that game because I felt like 1 hour wasn't even enough for like the things that I even started to do.
It was not, but that's what it's like. RPGs are like, because then there's too
Right,
much. Game.
right.
They can't fit
And I was
into
like,
a
wait,
demo,
but I just wanted
like,
to. Oh, it was just so close. But like, I just feel like they don't make demos as much anymore. I know Bethesda did for the new Wolfenstein. I think that was a really good move on their part. You know, to get people to actually try out the game or, you know, a mission of the game before they buy it, especially a shooter, because I mean, honestly, shooters in general are all obviously pretty much the same or pretty much cut and dry of what you do. The campaign isn't all that long as well, but I thought it was a really good move on their part that they did that. But excuse me, I don't know.
So speaking of open world RPGs and shooters,
Mhm.
Borderlands 3, we know we've gotten some information on it.
Yes, we do.
If you check our Twitter, we've uploaded stuff to Twitter regarding it. We've uploaded a video and some articles as well.
It's gonna be fantastic.
So apparently, we've been getting into Borderlands a lot. Just everything, the pre-sequel, Borderlands 2. We've basically been playing that nonstop. Bit of
It's just a really
procrastination in other fields on our end because of this, but it's okay. They're really fun games. So Borderlands 3 is apparently going to be multiple planets. You're gonna have ship customization. You're gonna have it's gonna be massive. They've been working on it for how many years? 4.
Well, I want to say they've been working on it
Because there's the pre-sequel, but then there was a Telltale game, but that's not really like a full fledged.
The Telltale game. I mean, it was a full-fledged interactive movie, as all Telltale games are. But
yeah, wait, can we talk about this for a second? Why are Telltale games so fucking popular?
Because
it's the amount of choice that you have that
sorry,
you get to see certain outcomes. Like, of course, like in general, video games are kind of like a if you really want to
an interactive
about it,
medium.
a subsection of movies. It's just interactive, so you have choice within the outcome. You know, but
right.
in whatever the series is, I keep on messing up the name. It's kind of a bridge between movie and game, whereas like you have the option to make choices, but you don't have to play a whole like game where you have to shoot shit or you know do stuff like that. It's kind of like it's a game for people who love reading books, but they just didn't like how it ended, you know, or how certain things went in certain chapters or plot twists or climaxes, etc. So like you know a book, for example. I mean, I don't really read books that often anymore, but
damn.
Jared's like, damn, like, no, it's so good. Honestly, I just got back into reading myself this year. It's one of my New Year's resolutions.
Problem with me is I start books and it's rare that I'll finish one because I'll be reading like 7 at a time, and I don't like. Sometimes
I've been trying to tackle at least one book per. So like I just finished Song of Ice and Fire, book 1, Game of Thrones, and I'm on A Clash of Kings, which is the second book in the series. And I think before I start Storm of Swords, which is very long, one of the longer ones. Actually, I think maybe the second longest one to Dance of Dragons. But I think I'm probably gonna read The Hobbit after, kind of like, you know.
You can read The Hobbit in like 2 days or one sitting.
I'll probably read Hobbit and reread Harry Potter. So, gotta read my man HP.
But what I was saying was like, okay, instead of a book example, because I clearly haven't read books in years. Mass Effect, the whole trilogy, for example. Right?
Yeah.
You know, along with the gameplay and the mechanics and the characters, people really love the system in the game where you can make choices. You know, either was it Paragon or the other one. I really didn't play the game that much, but I know that choice really affects your character development throughout all the games and how they're all interconnected. So it's like Telltale games are like that, except without all the grinding and video game playing.
Literally, yeah. Like,
so like some people like that, and it's proven to be a hit success. I personally am not a fan of it, just because there's so little to do in terms of like actually a game, but I can understand why it's popular.
Right. I mean, because I remember playing Wolf Among Us. I got it for free when I had my
I
Xbox
remember
One.
that game.
My Xbox One, RIP. Again, but it was like the stories are really good.
Oh no, yeah,
They're fantastic.
that
It's
that's
just,
that specific
I just
series.
literally felt like I was
forget.
doing
Yeah, that specific series has comic books. I forget what it's called. It's
Yeah.
not called The Wolf Among Us. It's called Fairy Tale. Is it Fairy Tales?
I think you're right. Yeah, but it's just I
Yeah,
felt like when I
and
was
it's-
playing it, I was doing literally the bare minimum. Like,
Oh yeah.
as if I was watching.
Yeah, I
like,
remember. Hey, Devin, do you remember when it was? Who was it? Was it me and Seth? This was like years ago. This was like the first time. This was just when Telltale was coming out, and they had that Walking Dead game.
Yeah, I was
tried
there
it.
at Devin's
Yeah,
house.
that was me, you, Seth, and you, Devin, and we were just sitting there, and Devin like tried it, and we were like, "What is this?"
It was after the one
We-
game of the year.
Yeah, it was like
Wow.
after I had won like Game of the Year or some shit. We were like, "This doesn't make. How is this better
We were
than
all like
Yeah, I remember when it
primitives
first came
before
out.
fire was made. We were just looking at like,
We're,
why does everybody like this shit?
It just didn't make any sense. Like, there's just
Yeah.
some of those games out there where, like,
Everyone's like, "Oh, the graphics are so sharp." No, they just look bad.
but it's shell shaded like every single Dragon Ball Z game that's ever been made. I don't know, like, it was just so strange. But like, yeah, it was just so weird. I don't know. I mean, like Telltale, like it was cool. It was a fun little experience. I played through The Wolf Among Us. I enjoyed the story, but I was just like, oh, like guide your character here, and you
Yeah,
can
it's
say one of like 4 or 3 things, and
yeah.
I mean, like I don't know. It was just so weird. But yeah, so back to the open world thing as you were talking about, Jared, when you know what you're saying, all these other games are more open world, and you know,
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
We were
is
talking,
supposed to
we were
be-
talking about Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah, it's
Spider-Man
versus
PS4
locked.
is taking RPG elements into it, so you're actually gonna be able to craft like
So like
elements
Assassin's Creed Origins, essentially,
I mean,
kind of, sort of.
like the same type of concept. Except Assassin's Creed Origins is an actual RPG now because you can there's
Right.
quest systems. There's the main quest, but there's
Still have not played
so
that game.
if you remember in The Witcher, there was like there's recommended levels to do the quest, but that doesn't mean you can't attempt it. So in The Witcher 3, you
This
could
might
go
take you a long
one
time.
of 3 locations at the beginning to start your main quest. Then after those 3 secondary main quests were finished, then you unlock the next chapter of the main quest. So that's Assassin's Creed Origins is like that you're given like what is it? You're given like 5 different main quests at one time, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what order you do them in. You can go do them. It doesn't fucking matter. And then there's side quest systems and stuff, and loot and crafting. So that was good. But I mean,
Speaking of our
I mean
open
that
world,
had always actually been in Assassin's Creed. It's just
I feel like it's been more fleshed out now.
yeah, it's way more fleshed out now. But I mean like so with these open world games, technically that stuff has already been there because like with Spider-Man, if you remember Web of Shadows, you had like skill trees and stuff, and then you
Dude,
had
that was my game.
Then you had like unlockable costumes.
That
And
was a good
apparently,
game.
so this new Spider-Man PS4 is made by the same people, but not the same people because the company that made Web of Shadows went bankrupt a while ago.
Yeah, this is made by Insomniac Games, which you made
Yeah.
obviously Ratchet and Clank and Sunset Overdrive. But I read that the map is supposed to be more fleshed out and bigger than Sunset Overdrive, which I think was a very underrated game.
I
In my
actually
opinion.
don't. I didn't like Sunset
I
Overdrive.
loved it, dude. I customized the crap out of my character.
I know, yeah, character customization, but it was just like it was.
I mean, it
when
was
they were
repetitive, but I still thought it was fun.
when they were advertising it, I was looking at the advertisement as one thing, and then you go and play it, and it's like, oh, this is actually like
Well,
not.
yeah, that's the gaming industry in a nutshell.
I mean, not always, not
Well,
always.
right.
Like,
Watch
like
Dogs.
I mean, Watch Dogs 1 was great.
No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
talking
Trigger
about
that.
their E3 performance. It looks so good. And then when the game
GTA 4.2.
and then the actual the actual gameplay came out, everyone was like, "What the hell is this?" It was hysterical, but
That
I
game
don't
was
know.
bummy.
It was, but Devin likes it for whatever reason.
And Jared. And
I
Jared.
like it too.
Jared likes any Ubisoft game, so
No, I only like
True.
Watch Dogs. I only like Watch Dogs because
and
there's
Far Cry.
no. I only like Watch
And
Dogs.
Assassin's
Watch Dogs.
Creed.
I only like Watch Dogs 1 because of Assassin's Creed, because Aiden Pierce is technically
Yeah,
part of the
yeah. They're
You're,
all part of the same
you're a
universe.
pussy.
in the thing.
Aiden-
What?
You're a pussy.
But Watch Dogs 1 had a good story. It was great. Watch Dogs
It
2 made no
did.
sense. I didn't
never
like
play
it.
Watch Dogs 2. I might when it costs like $10 on Steam.
Watch Dogs 2 irritated me because it was like this random ass kid. And it's like this kid has no reason to be killing people. Like
Yeah, they did a lot of murder.
yeah, and it was like why is he killing like Aiden Pierce was murdering like child molesters and shit. And this kid's just murdering politicians that are like maybe corrupt.
So like millennials
maybe.
taking
It's like-
over
it's
the
like, I
world.
don't-
Us,
kinda.
pretty much.
honestly.
like-
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I still like the only thing that back to Spider-Man business.
Okay.
These next generation consoles, they're the new thing on the block. They're supposed to be powerful, responsive, and innovative, intuitive, listening to your every thoughts. Not really,
So that's-
but minus that last part. It
Yeah.
runs at 30 FPS on both the base PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro. And
And the
honestly,
Pro? Okay, I didn't know that.
and honestly, from what I've read and from what I've watched on YouTube, the only main like hardware difference between them is just like an overclock. It's pretty much the PlayStation 4 Pro is like an overclocked version of the base PlayStation 4.
It's pretty minimal.
And it's just not as powerful, and it's like you're like
And we've also-
these games are supposed to be more like gaming PCs. Like why like 30 like this is 2018. Like honestly, no game should be running below 30 FPS.
And we know that a lot of games on these consoles can run at 60 frames per second.
They
For instance,
can.
one of the most graphically intensive games, last I checked, which was like Battlefield 1 or was it 4?
The
ran at
Xbox
60
One X can do it. I mean,
ran
the
at 60
architecture
frames
is
ran at 60 frames per second on the Xbox One X. No, on the regular Xbox One, not even X. And that's Battlefield. What we're talking about. That's like those are crazy ass.
yeah.
games.
It's just I mean, even games on PlayStation 2 and 64 ran at 60 FPS. Like it's not. I'm like a huge. Oh my gosh! Like 60 FPS, you need to have like all this hard like processing power. No, like you really don't, because it's been done before. Like like as I said with like N64, maybe even on the PlayStation 1. I really don't know. Don't quote me on that, but it's just. I feel like it's just ridiculous. Like I feel like console gamers are getting ripped off for the money that they do spend with the extra controllers, with the actual hardware, with the PlayStation or Xbox, and you buy the games, and you have to buy the online service, and like it's not just $400. Oh, go play your games, have a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's a little bit more like invested into that, especially like if you want a good headset, and I mean recording's gotten a little bit easier just to like post up on the internet, things like that. So I know a few people still use capture cards, but I just feel like they're getting ripped off with that. I mean, like the game looks great and everything. I hear you're supposed to be able to play as Mary Jane as well, and I guess during the part in the game, from what I've read, the part where you'll be able to play as Mary Jane, she already knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but I also believe that there will not be an Uncle Ben death at all in this game, and
Better not
honestly,
be.
I'm so happy because how many times we had to flush this out between
How many times we
Tobey
had to say-
Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Uncle Ben's dead. We know his grandfather died. I
It's
mean,
the same thing
Uncle
with
Ben, whatever. I'm sorry.
I mean, honestly,
I know
listen.
I said
Web
grandfather.
of Shadows didn't have an Uncle Ben death scene, and that's arguably the greatest successful Spider-Man game that's ever been created.
I agree. I
So-
don't know why I say grandfather. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, but no, the thing. Okay, so there wouldn't be a death. First of all, there wouldn't be an Uncle Ben death scene if there's Mary Jane in it, because in the Spider-Man comics, just like, this is me or not right now. In the Spider-Man comics,
Isn't it
Uncle
Gwen?
Ben. What?
Isn't it Gwen instead
No,
of
Gwen wouldn't even. Nobody would know Uncle Ben. So Spider-Man became Spider-Man when he was like 14,
Right.
or 16 or something, and it's Mary Jane is in college or after college. So that's like.
Yeah.
So what the Spider-Man we're dealing with in this one is probably Spider-Man in his prime. So he's probably like 30.
Or whichever Spider-Man it may be. But yeah.
Yeah, he's probably like
agree.
30 or like late 20s.
Right, right.
What that would make sense because that's when it's supposed to be like he knows how to handle. He knows all of his abilities and the capabilities that he has. So he can lift 20 tons. So that's actually enough. He can knock out the Hulk. Just to put that into perspective, but that's because the Hulk is not very smart while he's super strong. He can lift up the Hulk and throw him around just to at his prime. At his prime.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I'm sure the game's gonna be great.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish I could say I'm looking forward to it, but I can't play it because I don't have a PlayStation. So.
I can.
Yeah,
That's-
you can. But it's just.
I only have the PS4 for the exclusives, which is unfortunate, but it's like a realization that I had. It's like
I can't do it, man. Like it's as many times as I think about it over and over and over. I'm like, well, maybe if I did get a PlayStation 4.
I mean, it's okay. You can just watch the Let's Play things, right? Because that's basically the same as playing the game.
Was that was do you want to say something, Jared, or was that just a cough?
I was just. It's like, you know.
I'm just so poor. I'm just gonna watch everyone else playing on Twitch.
Doing Let's Play thing of games. You know, it's okay and everything to figure out like what the game's like, but don't just watch that one person. Like, go look up other gameplay because there's a chance that person may not know what the hell they're doing.
Not even that. I just feel like honestly, the only
real
way to experience the game is to actually play it yourself.
It's like you're having their experience, and a lot of times their experience is like they're forcing themselves to talk about what's happening.
Yeah,
which is just like it's sometimes I cringe and it's like, dude, you just, like.
I feel like people need to play the game and then come back and do more of like a review, like write their thoughts down as they're playing the game. You know what they think's going on in their head, and instead of just saying, "Oh my God, did you see that?" Spider-Man is just so cool.
I'm only saying this for like the people that actually have games and they're watching the Let's Plays instead of like going out and maybe like running the game or something. Or just,
running.
Yeah, you can.
What year is this?
Look. I'm talking about it from like.
You gonna hit up the old Blockbuster, buddy?
Listen,
no,
I
man,
know.
Redbox.
I know that some.
Redbox.
I know some people like don't have enough money to go out and buy these games, and that's why they watch the Let's Plays. But like, then there's also people that just watch the Let's Plays and they'll have the console of everything. It's like, dude, just go get the game. Don't like watching this. Like, watch other people for like a guide or something. You know, if you're stuck, but don't watch their whole series. I mean, you can. I'm not really.
It's kind of like how Far Cry, like when we were stuck between Far Cry 5, when I was heavily considering buying it, but it had been so long since I had purchased a game purchase a game that I felt that was worthy of paying $60 for, instead of just, I didn't want to just say, oh, why would I ever pay $60 for a game? Because I have before it, but it happens less frequently now because have these games, they say, oh, it's an open world experience, and then they talk it up and they talk it up and they talk it up and they end up being like Sea of Thieves, which is a $60 game.
It's a $60 game,
and the stream simulator type thing, like
that game. And then there was also people were complaining. It's like, oh, well, there's no like RPG systems, there's no leveling up. It's like that's because okay.
I mean, not even
that is a good critique of the game because of how fucking much money it is for what you're getting.
I feel like there
should be. I feel like that shit should be in there. I feel like there should be a better loot mechanic, a better like. But it turns out you're just stealing treasure and bringing it back to your ship. There's not like really any character progression.
There's like a Kraken, quote unquote, but like it only shows tentacles. Like it literally has no body. From what I've seen so far, I know they've had a few updates.
Only like ship customization, but even then, it's like
you can't even like actually customize your own character. It's literally all randomly generated. Yeah, it's just I didn't like. There's just no content in that game. Like IGN was talking that game up so much on Podcasts Unlocked. I should probably just say Ryan McCaffrey because he's the only one who really talks up. And like, I get it, you're excited for a game, whatever. But like at the same time, like
I think people
into it,
just
I'm like,
need
all right,
to.
let me see how much this game is.
I think that for these new IPs, people just need to stop hyping them up so much and just let them come out and then review them.
But like that's
instead
the
of,
problem with
building all this
pre-ordering
hype behind
because
stuff.
everyone
That's not really
wants to
no. Listen,
pre-order.
listen. But that's pre-ordering new IPs. Now you can pre-order a sequel to a game or something in a series. I'm fine with that. But if you pre-order a new
that's
IP,
true.
pre-order a new IP, it's like you don't really know what you're gonna get. You don't know
That's
yet.
true.
Because it's a unique
But like
thing.
everyone
We
thought,
don't-
like, oh, it was Rare, and Rare has made so many good games in the past, like even on N64, and
somebody had a joke. It's like, hey, Rare, please add this to the replay. So there's a Rare replay thing.
that's actually pretty funny.
Because there's 20 Rare games. There's like you've like all the Banjo Kazooies, even Banjo Kazooie on there, and like
literally, like I mean, I felt the Rare replay was a good price for all
and
the
they had
games that you got.
they had Perfect Dark and Perfect Dark Zero on Rare replay.
Right, but it's just Xbox is hurting with exclusives, and now this is the point where it's like, I obviously care how well Microsoft is doing because we game on PC, but I feel like that doesn't really affect us as much as it does with people on consoles. But it's like I want Microsoft to come out. I want Microsoft to come out with new IPs, but obviously any Xbox or Microsoft exclusive now is a Play Anywhere title, which I think is a fantastic move by Microsoft in general because
I could play Shadow of War on the computer right now if it was like 80 gigs.
And that's not even an exclusive. There are some games that will be Play Anywhere titles that aren't Xbox exclusives, which is really nice. But I mean, like, if you don't have Game Pass on your Xbox, I would not play Sea of Thieves at all. Like, State of Decay 2 comes out, I think, late May.
We're all getting that, right?
30, yeah, oh, absolutely. I'm getting that game. I enjoy the first game.
I don't even know
from
what
what
the hell
I've
it is.
seen from a lot of streams, it's really good.
Is it bad that I don't know what that is?
Not really,
Not really. No.
because
What's
Give me your
it's like a
Okay.
zombie
It's a zombie
survival game.
Zombie survival.
It was an
Similar
Xbox-
to Left 4 Dead.
It's more realistic than Left 4 Dead, honestly.
Okay.
Like there's actually like tactics to like surviving and everything. It's way more realistic. But the original State of Decay was an Xbox Live Arcade game, and it kind of just blew up. And I'm glad they're making a new one. From what I've seen, even through IGN stream, I was watching it about a week ago. It looks really solid, and a lot of people have been not hyping it up, just saying that like the mechanics look really good, looks really nice, looks like it's polished, and people are excited to see it. When it comes out, what other people have to say about it. I'm like, okay, yeah, like that's definitely a game that I will highly consider buying, which I probably will end up buying. Is it's only $30, and
And it's 4-person co-op.
yeah, and it's 4-person co-op, which is really nice. Which is also a big reason why Devin and I did not jump the gun and buy Far Cry 5 because it's
Now that
only-
co-op thing. Now you guys, so I think what would have made that co-op better is if it was like, okay, the problem with that co-op was, let's say you're doing a story mission in your friend's game in Far Cry 5, and then you go back to your game. Apparently, the progress made in that person does not transfer to your game.
right, but
So, I think
everything
I
that
think-
you've gained, like items
like
wise,
yeah,
and
like
level-wise,
experience and
but-
items wise, yes. But so my thing is like I like that personal thing, but since some people don't, I feel like they should have done something where it's like Borderlands, where Borderlands it gives you an option to skip ahead if you want to
It's just so nice, dude.
for
like-
quests that you have completed. So I
Yeah.
think maybe the team at Ubisoft, whichever Ubisoft studio made Far Cry 5, I think maybe that would be good for them to implement. I mean, they could still add an update and put that in there.
Oh,
It's probably
absolutely. But I
probably
mean,
easy to
Borderlands
implement,
is a perfect example of
of co-op.
four-player
and-
co-op. It's co-op in general. Like
Yeah,
there's just-
4-player co-op in a story-based shooter game.
There's
So that's-
more that you can do with Borderlands than you like co-op wise than you can do in Destiny. Like, seriously, I mean,
I never played Destiny
trading
because
is one of them because you
it
cannot
never
trade
looked-
between players in Destiny. I'm not sure if that's been established in Destiny 2 because I haven't really played it, but I know experience from the first game and from when the second game first came out. I don't think that you can trade like items and armor and things like that, or like you can in Borderlands 2, and it's just you can jump into a friend's game. It's just so much simpler that way instead of
You could jump to a friend's game and one-shot Bloodwing together.
no, so after I literally started the game and then I hopped in to like your guys like true Vault Hunter mode and just like
And then you how many times did you level up? 15 times? You were
it
level
was
20.
insane.
You were level 20, and when you were done, you were level 35.
Yeah, like I
Wow,
literally
that's fun.
breezed through.
And that was
my
like
first
2 hours.
campaign
It was 2 hours of us
of absolutely
playing our
nothing.
campaign.
It was just amazing. Like, wow. I don't know. It's just you don't get co-op games like that anymore, and I hope Borderlands 3 is going to be a better, an even better experience because of the way that Borderlands 2 left us off. But I don't know. Yeah, this.
There better be a grinder in it. That's all I care about.
There better
Yeah,
be
Siren,
like a
man.
grinder on every fucking planet in
Yeah.
every single town.
Yeah.
Please.
Grinders.
It was not just
everywhere.
guns too, like
Like
with other stuff.
no, you could do other gun. You could do shields and relics in the grinder. You know that,
You
right?
can't.
No, you
Yeah, you
can't.
can. Yeah,
How?
you could do shields. I've done shields before.
You've
No.
done shields.
Yes.
No fucking way.
Prove it. Video evidence right now.
Okay.
Here's a video of me. No, but yeah. So it gets us back to like the exclusive thing. I know I went a little bit of a rant. It's just with Microsoft. I'm like, like as you were talking about like new IPs, pre-ordering, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, I think Microsoft. I want them to succeed, and everyone's like, oh, we need more exclusives. I'm like, but like. Do they though?
Wait,
Like,
you mean
they
for
have
what?
power
You mean for what it
tools.
spit? You mean for what it spits out, or what you can put in
What do you mean? Wait,
for the
what?
grinder? Because you can put in like
No,
Bro,
no.
shields
no.
and shit.
No,
You mean for what
no.
it spits out?
I'm talking.
Because I put in. I'm talking to them. You mean for what it spits out?
You can't put in shields.
Yes, you can. You totally can.
Do it right now.
Let us know in the comments below if you can.
I'm linking the recipes right here. Like
All right, all right.
Do it though.
there's specific
Do it.
recipes. There's
Do it.
Do
Join
it,
my
though.
game and
Just
do
because
it.
you got the recipe doesn't mean you have the capability to do it.
there's
No.
specific
pussy.
recipes. Like you can't just put any shield. It has to be a specific combination of items to spit out an item. There's
Do it, pussy.
Oh, I see what he's saying.
There,
Okay.
There's not like if you remember when I tried to use the grinder in your game and I was like it's not working. That wasn't because I hadn't unlocked it. It was because I wasn't putting in a normal recipe. Recipe didn't work. Whatever I was putting in.
The recipe.
There's specific recipes. If you read this, you can put shields in. It just has to be a specific thing. You gotta experiment. But
Why don't you do it?
anyway, what I have done it. But okay, now let's get back on topic. Okay.
No, I was talking about how I want Microsoft to have exclusives, but like I'm starting to think like the reason why PC has so many exclusives is because it's just 10 times easier to develop and publish your game on PC, on Steam and Origin or wherever else you want, GOG, Galaxy, whatever. And they don't have to worry about their studio going under if their game is selling really well, if they're taken picked up by like a publisher, and they don't have to jump through as many hoops. And like if the game becomes a success, like obviously eventually someone's gonna want to get their hands on those rights to that game. Obviously, like with